Scentland, the land of scent. Hello and welcome, Chris, back with another edition of Fragrantic Timeline. I really love to do this topic and to do reviews like this because it's really a trip down memory lane, isn't it? I was 6 years old, actually, in 1978, a memorable year for me. Not necessarily always a very happy one. If you want to have some private input, my father was diagnosed with a severe cancer, which took him, to heaven in 1979, and so 78 has a sort of a bitter aftertaste for me personally. But also good when I got my first dog in 1978, and that's a nice memory. And lots of stuff was going on in the world in 1978 as well. For example, I remember there was, to be on the negative side, to stay on the negative side, there was several vicious airplane crashes throughout that year, like Pacific and Pacific Western, I think the name was, Air India, something else as well. So air travel in the late 70s wasn't as safe as it is today. Definitely, every year there was something going on. The planes were coming down, and but I always also remember that there was this 1978 Football World Cup, or Reinhold Messner climbed to Mount Everest without oxygen, or Dallas started in TV in the US, not yet in Germany where I lived. I remember also Roman Polanski was fleeing the country, right, at the time, the famous director, because he had this sexual molestation allegations going on against him, much like many people have this day and age. And Pope John Paul II was elected after Pope John Paul I just died after 33 days in office. And for my Irish friends, RTE2 went on air, the second Irish television program. Also, there was some stuff in the movies going on, Jaws 2, The Deer Hunter, and of course it was the age of weird music also, lots of disco around, and the movie Grease came out, John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John, and if I'm not mistaken, and lots of disco, but punk started to creep into the consciousness of the music industry, which I think did some good, because Sex Pistols, Billy Idol, and people started to emerge, and that was good because the music was just too disco at that time, right? Saturday Night Fever came out the year before, so that was around that time, right? So that's the context of 78. And of course, in terms of fragrances, 1978 was just a tremendous year. If you just look at, if I start with female fragrances, immediately Magie Noire, Lancôme Magie Noire, an eternal masterpiece that is still around today, not in the same quality and same class, but still around, and it's good that it's still around. But also Aramis had out Devin, Ralph Lauren came out with Polo, and Van Cleef & Arpels Pour Homme, 1978, right? So Devin may be 77, I'm not 100% sure, but it was around that time. And so there was some great fragrances, and some will argue with me, I know, that Polo and Van Cleef & Arpels Pour Homme should be in my top 3. They didn't make it. Why? Somehow I missed something in them. Van Cleef & Arpels is great. It's just too simple. I don't know. It's just too harsh for me for some reason. And Polo is the same. It's just harsh, green, spicy, in-your-face stuff. While my top 3 are coming from the exact same aromatic fougere family, yet they're still, their overall blending is still somehow more sophisticated than Polo or Van Cleef & Arpels. And of course, one of these needs to be Azzaro Pour Homme, 1978, by the House of Lores Azzaro. This is just a tremendous, tremendous fragrance. Anis, obviously the main player here, but also it's very complex. I think it has about 200 ingredients in there, so I don't even start. But it's a very nice, fresh, deep, warm, smooth, spicy, aromatic fragrance that is just around still today, and I love it till today. It's not the same anymore. Obviously, they change a bit of a formula, obviously due to restrictions. But this juice is just an absolute mind blower, and it's really more for the winter time and autumn time for me, maybe springtime. But the formula itself, the blend itself, the vibe that you get is just very unique, very easily recognizable, and a hit all over the world. This is a fantastic success fragrance. Azzaro Pour Homme from the House of Lores Azzaro from the year of 1978. Spot number 3. Spot number 2. Fantastic fragrance. Again, it has been changed since, even the name has changed since, but it's still around. Lagerfeld Cologne, it was called. Lagerfeld Classic, it's called now. And this blend, ladies and gentlemen, I reviewed this separately. This is very important here, that with this fragrance you need to give it time to develop on your skin, and the best it's worn under your shirt, and then after 2-3 hours it really shows its pure beauty. This is just such a complex blend that it's hard to find words, and the performance is stunning as well here. It's much more than just an in-your-face fragrance. Many people mistake it from the top notes. It's very harsh at the beginning, but you need to give this time, and it will shine tremendously on you. It will just linger like your second skin, like your second aura. And Lagerfeld Classic is therefore still around. People love it. It's a very, well positioned fragrance on the market, selling very well, and the shape has been designed of the bottle, and the entire bottle has been designed by Karl Lagerfeld himself. And it was the first male fragrance from Karl Lagerfeld, and it's a tremendous success until this day. So hugely love Karl Lagerfeld, Lagerfeld Classic, or Lagerfeld Cologne as it was called then. So you can ask yourself, what is on spot number 1? Well, you might be surprised. It's from the French house of Orlane, released in 1978, called Derrick. And guess what? This is also still around. The bottle is the very same bottle like it was before, and it's one of my favorite fragrances, I have to tell you. It is a fresh, aromatic, spicy fragrance that is so versatile that I use it all year round. It's just an all year round fragrance for me, even though it has this heavy fougere, mossy background. It is so refreshing at the same time, that makes it so versatile and a compliment getter as well. I love the design, I love the fact that not everybody wears it, I love the fact that it's still around. Actually, Orlane seemed to give it another push because the market is flooded currently with this juice. So very clever people, because this is just it's beating everything for me from 1978, and actually for almost any other year. Like this fragrance is definitely in my top 5, and it just, when I wear this, it puts a smile on my face. Derrick is just, for me, manly fougere perfection. And at the time, I think it was marketed like the most complex fragrance in the world or something like this. I don't know if that was just a marketing phrase or if it's true, but for me it's definitely my favorite one from the year of 1978, which was, again, it was a very, very busy year, very memorable. Ups and lows, ups and downs, and but you know, in terms of fragrances, there was a tremendous output. Because if you look at these, my top three, even, you know, where do you have something like this of this quality coming out today, right? Nowhere. So these are my top three. Let me know what you think. If you miss Polo or Van Cleef, you know, fair enough, but that was my game here in this case. So the winner is Derrick from Orlane. See you soon for another review. Thanks very much for watching.